There is no one more hopelessly enslaved than those who falsely believe they are free. Goethe wrote these words almost 200 years ago, but they are perhaps more relevant today than they were in his time. Many people assume we live in a free society simply because the West hasn't turned into a dystopian hell like the one in George Orwell's 1984. Most people believe losing their freedom would be obvious. But is that true? Or are we living in a society similar to the one in Aldous Huxley's dystopian novel, Brave New World? Technology, drugs, pornography, and other pleasurable distractions may have created a population so distracted that they don't notice their own chains. When Brave New World was first published in 1931, Huxley didn't see the dystopia he described as an immediate threat. However, 30 years later, after World War II, the rise of totalitarianism, and major advances in science and technology, Huxley changed his mind. In a 1961 speech, he warned that in the future, the ruling classes would learn to control the population not just with force, but also by subtly drowning the masses in endless pleasure. One might ask, how can pleasure be used to take away freedom? To answer this, we need to discuss operant conditioning, a method of changing behavior. In the 20th century, Harvard psychologist B.F. Skinner conducted famous experiments where he tested different ways to introduce new behaviors in rats. These experiments showed how those in power can condition people to love their servitude. In one set of experiments, Skinner used positive reinforcement to cultivate new behaviors. He gave the rat food whenever it did what he wanted. In another set, he tried to weaken or eliminate certain behaviors through punishment, using a painful stimulus when the rat did something he wanted to stop. Skinner found that punishment temporarily stopped unwanted behaviors, but it didn't remove the animal's motivation to do them in the future. Behaviors conditioned with positive reinforcement, on the other hand, were longer lasting and led to long-term changes in the animal's behavior patterns. Huxley knew about Skinner's experiments and understood their implications for society and politics. In Brave New World and later works, Huxley predicted a controlling oligarchy that would conduct similar experiments on humans to condition them into being docile and to minimize the potential for civil unrest. Skinner, like Huxley, understood the social implications of his experiments, but unlike Huxley, he believed operant conditioning could be used by social engineers for good, leading to a scientifically managed utopia. However, a passage from Skinner's book Walden 2 reveals that such mass conditioning could actually enable a harmful form of tyranny, where the masses would be enslaved but feel free. In Brave New World, the main reward used to condition submission through positive reinforcement was a superdrug called Soma. The world controllers encouraged the systematic drugging of their own citizens for the benefit of the state. Soma was taken daily by the citizens because it offered what Huxley called a holiday from reality. Depending on the dosage, it stimulated feelings of euphoria, pleasant hallucinations, or acted as a powerful sleep aid. It also served to increase suggestibility, making the propaganda to which the citizens were continually subjected even more effective. But the world controllers didn't just rely on Soma. Sexual promiscuity was promoted by the state as another tactic to ensure everyone enjoyed their servitude. The slogan, "Everyone belongs to everyone else," was instilled in the minds of citizens from a young age. With the institutions of monogamy and family abolished, everyone could satisfy their sexual urges without hindrance. Constant access to sexual gratification helped ensure that citizens were too distracted to pay attention to the reality of their situation. State-sanctioned entertainment also played an important role in creating the painless concentration camp of Brave New World. What Huxley called incessant distractions of the most fascinating nature were used by the state as instruments of policy to drown the minds of its citizens in a sea of irrelevance. The parallels between Brave New World and modern societies are undeniable. In Brave New World Revisited, published in 1958, Huxley asked himself how the social engineers of the future could convince their subjects to take drugs that would make them think, feel, and behave in the desired way. He concluded, most probably, it will be enough merely to make the pills available. Today, it is estimated that 1 in 6 Americans uses some type of psychotropic drug. An opioid crisis has swept across the West. The ability to satisfy sexual urges online has led many into the grip of pornography addiction. And smartphones and other technologies provide pleasurable distractions that consume most people's attention for most of the day. To what extent these distractions are intentionally pushed on us, and to what extent they are spontaneous responses to consumer demand, is unclear. But, whatever the answer, The reality is that a distracted and dumbed-down population doesn't have the mental resources to resist its enslavement. Until the modern cry of, "Give me television and hamburgers, but don't bother me with the responsibilities of liberty," is replaced by the cry of, "Give me liberty or give me death," freedom will not prevail. On the contrary, as long as people trade their freedom for pleasure and comfort, the kind of social conditioning Huxley warned about will only become more refined and effective as technologies advance, and more information is gained about how to predict and control human behavior. Whether most of us will be able to resist this kind of manipulation, or whether we will even want to, remains to be seen. If current trends continue, humanity may soon be divided into two groups: those who embrace their pleasurable servitude, and those who choose to resist it for the sake of maintaining not just their freedom, but their humanity. For as the ex-slave Frederick Douglass observed in the mid-19th century, long before Huxley wrote Brave New World, when a slave becomes a happy slave, he has effectively relinquished everything that makes him human.